What is up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. You got another podcast for you this week. A lot going on. We're pre-recording this podcast on Friday, May 26th. Man, because we got a big trip coming up. Jess and I we're gonna be both going to Leon versus LAFC down in Guanajuato. It's gonna be an exciting time, man. And always when you get to travel away, go to a big match like that, CCL final. It's always a fun time. But we're gonna talk. We got a recap. We had a big week. LAFC versus the LA Galaxy. These games never disappoint. Justin, never disappoint. There's drama at the end. At the end was all the drama. The game happened, right? But the drama was at the end. But before we get into that, how you doing, man? With everything going on this week.
Doing well, man. It's honestly good to have a little break. LAFC have been running this entire season, and now what, an 8-day break between games finally for the players and as well for us.
Yeah, no, it's a good break, especially no games this week at least. If you're covering LAFC and what they're doing, but yeah, man, it was good. It was good. The U.S. Open Cup, what we got to see there. Were you surprised? I guess were you surprised that no like necessarily no first team players played or got the start?
No, yeah, I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, that's what I predicted in my preview of the match. I expected basically a full LAFC2 squad. In fact, the only real surprise for me in that starting 11 was Mahala, because he is part of the LAFC starting 11, and I didn't expect a single starting 11 player to be playing against Galaxy. Buick and Bogusz, I thought, could definitely get the start, because they are not, first 11 players, although they are obviously first team players. And that is exactly what Steve basically went with, is a mix between that B team and that C team, which we will call LAFC2. So I thought it was, very reasonable from what Steve did, logically and decision wise. But obviously, the gamble is for the CCL. A win against Galaxy would have been that cherry on top of the little gamble that Steve made there. But obviously, the full purpose is of this upcoming Champions League final.
Yeah, let's dive deep into this game. Because the first half, look, I guess with the week ahead, I would say I was a little surprised that not I guess I wouldn't expect Vela, right? Because I think it was clear that we understood that LAFC clearly has so many other things that they got to prioritize, right? In U.S. Open Cup, it's definitely not at the top of the list. But I was surprised, to see at least Tillman or someone that plays regularly, or Palencia or something like that. At least get a couple minutes. But I was very surprised how LAFC2 did pretty well in the first half against LA Galaxy's first team. I feel they had a couple of threatening opportunities, I believe, with Bogus. I almost had a tap in there, might have been Stipe, but it was really good to see the youngsters and see what they could do. We saw Duenas, we got Nathan Ordaz, so we saw what they do. But obviously, there was a come the second half, there was kind of a clear difference in there. But what did you like in that first half from LAFC?
No, you're absolutely right. I think in the first half, LAFC were the better side. They brought out obviously that passion and energy that you would expect from the younger guys to go out and prove themselves. But these are guys that occasionally get pushed around in MLS Next Pro, and they are not getting pushed around by full grown adults in MLS, or this case, the US Open Cup. But it's really good to see. I thought, Duenas won that battle with Riqui Puig in the first half. Obviously, he lost it in the second half, but it's those type of individual battles, those type of team mentalities, where obviously it helped to have a front three that is a little bit more experienced. But the team played very well. Danny Crisostomo once again put in a very solid shift in that defensive midfielder position next to Duenas. So, yeah, I thought that it was overall a very strong performance in the first half. Probably should have been rewarded with a goal, as Eldin Jakubovic said after the match. He said, if there was a goal that came in that first half, the game probably changes. Not that he didn't say that they would win the game, obviously, but it changes the way that the game is played, and he's absolutely right. So, yeah, the quality from Galaxy shine through. They had players like Riqui Puig on the field to score that incredible goal, and Tyler Boyd is becoming an LAFC killer now with two absolute stunners in his two
Mhm.
games against LAFC. So, yeah, it was just that little bit of quality that shone through.
Yeah, obviously coming to that second half, there was a big difference. You saw Galaxy adjust. Tyler Boyd came in and he scored an absolute banger. I think, like you mentioned, that's his second time scoring against LAFC. And then obviously Riqui Puig, he had that magical goal. And it was cool to see how the highlight, right? Just the highlight. But I think I didn't see it where we're seeing the celebration. I didn't see initially him taking off his shirt. I didn't see it because where the press box is set up at LAFC is we're on the opposite side. So anything you go on the other side, you can't really see. So I saw the goal, and then I didn't see that. And then I think like 5 minutes later, I kept seeing all these things on Twitter like about Riqui Puig taking off his shirt because I did see him. Obviously, I saw him get that yellow card, but I once I saw that, I couldn't believe necessarily the celebration, the type of celebration, obviously for him to take off his shirt and do that. What'd you think of the celebration?
Yeah, no, I didn't see it immediately either. You know me, as soon as a goal scored, I'm on Twitter tweeting it out. But no, I thought it was interesting. I also found out immediately after because I my phone got blown up with texts, people saying, "What is Ricky doing? What is Ricky doing?" Um, no, look, I don't know why he brought out that celebration. Obviously, it's against LAFC. It's a great goal, but you got to have a little bit of awareness of the situation and the team that you're playing and the situation that your club is in and all these other factors. I don't understand it necessarily. I would agree a little bit with Giorgio Chiellini in his payaso comment, but it's Riqui Puig. It's what he wants to do. Um, all props to him for the goal.
Yeah, and I got a good quote here. I guess this is what he said afterwards. Well, yeah, let's go. He said it is a fan base that puts a lot of pressure and sometimes can be disrespectful, but it is what it is. It's proof that the LA Galaxy can own this city, and we went for it. So I think let's go through a timeline here because of what happened. What with obviously Riqui Puig and Giorgio Chiellini. So Riqui Puig does that celebration. He takes off his shirt. Messi like Ronaldo like he does that celebration on LAFC too. The second team, and then at the end, the post game press conference or interviews, Chiellini walks past him and calls him a clown in Spanish, payaso. And then the next day, Riqui Puig did not like that comment from Chiellini, and Riqui Puig retweets a goal that he scored on Chiellini in a friendly when Chiellini was at Juventus and Riqui Puig was at Barcelona. He retweets that, and man, that's where it continues, right? This rivalry always has everything. And the next time these two teams face each other is going to be July 4th at the Rose Bowl Stadium. With everything going on here, guaranteed to see fireworks, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not somebody who buys into this drama and hype as much as
We
others
need to
do.
buy into it, Justin. We need the reason why we need to buy into this is what rivalries are all about. This is what it is. This is why you have Real Madrid versus Barcelona. These petty things is what make this rivalry. And I know, and I don't feel like I'm trying to make too big into it. But when you have Giorgio Chiellini, who feels in a way that's he's kind of disrespecting the kids or disrespecting the club and says that and interrupts it, I think we need to buy into something like this because this is why we talked about this. This is why this is the biggest rivalry and things like this happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's why it's the biggest rivalry. I think it's because they're supposed to be the two best teams in MLS. That Galaxy, are the most historic winning team in MLS, and LAFC are the new shiny bright thing that can seems to beat everybody else. That's to me what makes a great rivalry is on the pitch. I agree that these extracurriculars can help and interest some people, but to me, it's just a comment from Giorgio. I don't think that Giorgio takes it maybe as seriously as Ricky does with these retweets of friendly goals. I mean, like genuinely, I don't understand this from Riqui Puig. You got to have some shame, man. You scored against some teenagers, took off your shirt, and then reposted a friendly goal against a player who has had the most illustrious career possible in Europe, and you completely flopped in Europe. I mean, I don't understand that. You got to have a little bit of perspective on who you're talking to and the situation that you're in, because to me, he's kind of talking a little bit too much where he can't back it up. He scores great goals, but in the situations where it doesn't matter, against a bunch of teenagers and in a friendly, and those are the goals that he's focusing on.
Hey, hey, that is a take, and that's what I'm saying. That's why things like this, these petty things, is what this animosity between these two clubs, right? This is what I think fans and the casuals like, and this is what builds up these rivalries and makes it. Because I know there's plenty other games coming up, but I can't wait till July 4th. I'm being honest. I cannot wait to see, because everything you just mentioned, and he's retweeting and doing, he's egging Chiellini on, right? I think Chiellini's still going through an injury. We'll see, but I almost have a feeling Chiellini is going to be healthy by July 4th and play that game against a Riqui Puig with everything going on. And that animosity, that the pettiness, and that is what people really like in a rivalry. And I think that's what makes it so much more interesting, right? Because right now we've had the Carlos Vela and Chicharito, but it's too friendly, right? You remember when it was Carlos Vela versus Zlatan, and Zlatan would just say whatever he said, but he would back it up, right? Ricky is saying what he wants to say, but we have to see if he's going to back it up against Giorgio Chiellini, against LAFC's first team, because that's when it matters, right? It's one thing that you can do it against the kids, against LAFC too, but I think everybody's looking forward to if he can do against Giorgio Chiellini and LAFC's first team, and that is what's so intriguing about this matchup and so juicy between Giorgio Chiellini. You mentioned his resume, and Riqui Puig, which is reviving his career here with the Galaxy.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right there, and I hope that we do get to see a little bit of that on the field on July 4th. I hope Giorgio Chiellini puts a bit of a harsh challenge in on Riqui Puig, and gets the game exciting, and a little bit of atmosphere in it. But I wait until I see that on the field, until I go crazy with it, because to me, we might just never not see anything, and we might hype this up for 2 months for no reason, you know. And so that's what I want to avoid, because I don't know, maybe it'll last this next month and a half, but maybe Giorgio Chiellini will completely forget about it. I just don't know.
I
Um,
have a feeling when you start to retweet things about scoring on Giorgio Chiellini, I don't think Giorgio's gonna forget about that. He's a defender, and the things he's done, and the Suarez and like Chiellini has um a history with being
yeah, but
being
to me it's like when MGK challenged Eminem to a rap battle. Like, why does
no.
Chiellini care? Why are you wasting your time? Right?
Because the same time would be, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because he
Yeah.
cares. He cares about the club. When Giorgio Chiellini did that, you know what that told me? He
Mm,
not that he wasn't before. Giorgio Chiellini goes to all these games, even though he's not playing. There's certain players that we've seen at LAFC that don't even show up to the stadium. It shows the level of commitment of Chiellini to LAFC, going to these games, supporting LAFC too. He doesn't have to be these games, right? He's going through an injury, but to him to be like, no, this is my team. I'm backing up my youngsters. I see what the youngsters do in practice. I'm the older guy. I'm the older cat, right? And if I see something you're doing, and you're doing disrespectful in my home and what I consider my club, I'm gonna say something about it. Chiellini's fully committed, and that's why you have that reaction of interrupting him in his post game press conference, because he knows what he did was clownish behavior. Because Chiellini is like, why don't you do that against the first team? And when he looked back, he was making sure Ricky heard him, or he said it loud enough for all the press. Chiellini knew what he was doing. He knew what he was
mm.
doing. He was sending a message, and the reason why you say that is because he cares that deep, Justin. I know it may seem crazy to some people in Europe, but Chiellini cares that deep, and I think a player like Chiellini, when he cares that deep, I think anybody that's gone a any MLS team that's gone a European player wishes the level of commitment that Chiellini has towards LAFC, because not that many players that have come from Europe or come from South America have that level of care or respect for the club the way Chiellini does, and he does it up to top. We've got to know him a little bit, the best we can, through these press conferences and media, right, and media invitations and stuff like that. Every time I see him, he is so in tune, and he's so committed to the club. That's why I'm saying he cares, and July 4th is going to be exciting.
I couldn't agree more with what you said. He brings that professionalism every day. My question to you is: does Ricky bring that same energy from the other side? Is he or about fighting for his team in Galaxy, or is his motivation a little bit more personal, a little bit more? Let me prove myself as what he's still 23, trying to prove his career and that he's not a flop that everyone in Europe views him as. Is his purpose a little bit more personal? He's talking about, well, we can own this city. Well, I'm pretty sure one of the teams is in first and one of them is in last. So why is he saying those type of things?
No, look, that's a great point, and I think two different players, two different players, and two different things, right? Chiellini has done at the highest level. He's been so professional about it. Ricky, he's had his instances right at Barcelona. There's been stuff that's been talked about him, and he's a little feisty from what we can see. He's very feisty, and I think anytime you do a celebration where you show your name, that talks about like that is you're talking just about yourself because how
Mhm.
poor the Galaxy have
He
been,
didn't show
right?
the crest. He showed his
He
name.
didn't show the crest. He showed his name. He showed the back of his name because I think he wanted to tell himself to himself like even though we're having a terrible season, I'm still good. I'm still good, right? Because these guys are playing individually. Everybody for the Galaxy is playing for themselves. I've said this before, and I've said this in the past to you. These guys are playing for themselves because they don't believe in currently what the coach is buying. Yeah, they beat LAFC, which is great. But anytime you do that celebration, is all about yourself. And Riqui Puig needs to continue to at least to prove to himself that he can play at a high level, even though the team is performing right very poor. Even though the Galaxy is performing very, very, very poor, I think to him he has to prove to himself, and it's very different situations. And I think Ricky is more on the individual and spicy type of level and egginess on because at the beginning of the season he said he wanted to win MVP. I don't think he's going to win it the way the season they've had and everything, right? He's not going to win the MVP because of the poor season they have. And I think this is just a reminder and for him to be petty and do it against the biggest rival, I think is just that's what I'm saying. We'll see July 4th if he could back it up like Sultan or if he bit off more than he can chew.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't see a performance like that. Yes, to me, if you're taking off your shirt for the win and all that, great. But if you're taking off your shirt just for the goal because you scored a great goal, you literally beat three 18-year-olds, if I'm not mistaken, on the goal. So it's interesting to me where he comes from in terms of the personal versus the team aspect. Um, and yeah, I think it's a little bit more of him trying to prove himself, and that's probably why Chiellini called him a payaso.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, July 4th, we're gonna see Chiellini respond to Giorgio. I mean, Chiellini to Ricky what he did, and I like it because that's what you need. Because Carlos Vela is not going to do this, and that's not type of Vela. Carlos Vela's the way he acts, but you need just to close this off. You need a leader like that, especially in a rivalry like this. I'm telling you, to me, this everybody retweeted that thing, and it was just going crazy on social media because, as I'm telling you, like when Chiellini cares that deep and Ricky Puig does the pettiness, it's what makes it intriguing and exciting. Even though the Galaxy may not have a successful season this year, that game because up to now that game I wasn't really looking forward to that game. I was like you know, and that little things like this is what intrigues you. Those storylines are like okay, this is gonna be good. I was literally talking to someone yesterday. I ran into someone and they're like, and they also these guys also have a podcast and they follow what we do here. And they're like, what'd you think about this and everything? They're like, man, you know what? I can't wait till that Rose Bowl game. I can't wait. I'm telling you, that whole little interaction between them two was like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to that game. And I like the buzz. And I like the buzz and what's going on. Um, let's switch over, Justin. Obviously, big game. CCL final. LAFC are gonna head to Leon. We're gonna head to Leon. You and I are gonna head to Leon. We're gonna go cover that match down in Guanajuato. It's gonna go on Wednesday. We'll be there for a few days, and obviously the second leg is gonna be on June 4th. Obviously, these two teams face each other previously in the CCL. I want to say it was during COVID 2020, right before everything shut
Hmm.
down. Obviously, the last time over there, the first it was similar. The first leg was in Guanajuato. I think LAFC went down 2-1 or something like that,
It
and
was
then they
that
or two
incredible
zero.
comeback here.
And
Yeah.
then the incredible comeback at the time, Bank of California Stadium. And I think at that time was LAFC's biggest game as a club. That win over Leon. Let's talk about this matchup a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that is still one of the most historic games in LAFC history. Obviously topped up by that MLS Cup final, but that comeback against Leon was unbelievably historic. I think after the Leon first leg, going down 2-0, not many LAFC fans expected a win or even thought that that was possible. But LAFC came back to the Bank of California Stadium, won 3-0. And yeah, just an incredible comeback that will go down in history. That sent them obviously all the way up until the final, which they lost to Tigres. But now they've got another chance to redeem themselves. Obviously, it didn't get it done in 2020 when it was a single leg. Now over two legs in the final, home and away, they'll get that chance to just win that biggest trophy that they've been trying to win and that they came up just short of in 2020. They are definitely the favorites going in. Leon are a good team, but don't quite have the superstar power of LAFC. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. And CONCACAF, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, man. I think this also is obviously the biggest game, this matchup, and just seeing what Leon's gonna want some revenge too because of what happened. And it's been clear that LAFC has been the best team in CCL by the way they've been dominating teams all the way up into the final. And I think Leon is going to very be much looking forward to that matchup. But just to go back on that second leg, on the first time they faced in 2020, at that time, I remember being at the stadium and I was like, that game was just so exciting, so thrilling. I think it was a Diego Rossi that got the game-winning goal, or
Hmm.
with his, I think it
Yeah.
was his left foot right over the almost like an impossible angle that dipped in, and that game was exciting. It was thrilling, because even like the motion at Bank of California Stadium, because the second leg was on a Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that, and no one knew what to expect, right? Being down 2-0, and then coming back and winning 3-0. It was insane. And I think up until the MLS Cup final, that was the biggest game. That was the most exciting game. That was the most thrilling game that LAC had up to that point. And then obviously they went on the CCL the 2020 final, which they ended up losing to Tigres. So LAC still, has already been there. Carlos Vela has done this, going up to a final and coming up short. And I know he's going to be very, very motivated. And obviously, this team is even better than that 2020 team, and what they've been doing. So, and Buanga is going to get a taste of a little bit of the final, what this brings, and what he's been able to do this season, and going down in Guanajuato and Leon. It's not going to be easy. I know Leon fans, even some Leon fans here in LA that I've been talking to, are very excited about this game. But man, I'm excited just to go out there and just talk to the fans and see what they think of LAFC. Right now that they've seen all of this, the last time they played them, they weren't champions. Now they're champions, and now they got some umph to them, and some silverware. Because LAFC is the favorite, Leon's not the favorite, and Leon has also beat. I think they beat Tigres to get here to the final, and they've had quite the run as well. What they've been able to do as a club. So I'm excited for Guanajuato, Justin.
No, I'm extremely excited as well. I've never been to a game in Mexico, so this will be my
Oh,
first time
really?
doing so. Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't get much bigger, does it? So yeah, no, I'm extremely excited for it. I think it'll be an incredible atmosphere, and yeah, hopefully match it on the pitch as well with an incredible game.
Yeah, no, and two is also because I've been talking to a couple fans, seeing how many people are going to travel. I know you probably know a lot better than me, but it's gonna be a lot of AFC fans going down there. And I want to see, because the last time that I remember about this, there was like this one viral video back in like 2020 of an LAFC fan swapped the jersey with the Leon fan. I don't know if you remember, but I remember that was
Mhm.
it was like either a picture or video. And I remember people were like, just because there was like because in Mexico they
There's
separate the fan
barriers.
bases, and they got the cages where you can't really interact, just for safety purposes. But I remember seeing that last time when they were in Leon, and I'm looking forward to, because obviously how LAFC has grown since then, since those last 3 years. How many more fans going down there, and how much, and what they do, and how they, because LAFC tends to do these, what I guess, what do you call it, like uh, these fan, like, before the pre games and everything leading up to the stadium. That's what I'm really looking forward to, the march to the stadium. I guess that's what I'm talking about, the march to the stadium,
Mhm.
march, and where the stands, where the fans are at, and how loud they're able to be in such a congested and packed stadium like that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is going to be a very, very large LAC traveling contingent for this match. I, yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting, and I think that march to the match will be fun. Uh, yeah, safety is my only concern, as you say. They bring in those cages, they bring in those barriers for a reason, and in 2020, it wasn't too bad because Leon won the game 2-0, so all their fans were pretty happy, and there wasn't
Good
any
point.
issues. But if LAFC were to go in there and win the game, that could change. So yeah, just if you're going to Leon, stay safe, stay with the group, and yeah, hopefully everything will be all right. But hopefully the game will just be the main focus of the day.
Oh, Justin, you're in for an awesome surprise. You'll be safe, because I think it's always,
No, no, I'm sure.
I think
I'm
anytime
sure. I just know that there have
you
been
get a
some
little
videos
nervous.
coming out of Mexico recently of some dangerous things outside of stadiums. That's all I'm saying. So stay. I'm
Justin,
sure that
you'll
I'm
be
sure.
fine. You'll be
I'm not
fine.
saying about me. I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying the 3252. I'm sure are going to be escorted by police and such as will be necessary. That's all I'm saying. I don't expect anything bad. But I'm just saying, yeah.
Leon fans, if you're listening, please do not kidnap Justin. He's a good guy, so please do not kidnap.
Not me, not me. I'm a media. I'm not a part of this.
No, bro, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I think. Have you been to Mexico before or no?
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been to Mexico. I've just never been to a game there, so I'm excited to see. But
Bro, it's
yeah.
it's the best. It's the best. It's the best because, yo, yeah, I've had the opportunity to go to Estadio Azteca when it's USA versus Mexico, and those games
Mm,
are crazy. Not the last one, because they had what happened with the fans. But man, anytime you get it's gonna be it's gonna be a good one, because the energy, just emotion, obviously being in a final as well, and the chants and everything. And you're right. I think for the most part, and especially a traveling team, and everything. Even if LAFC wins, I think you'll be fine. Anytime you go, this is what I always tell people when they go out to travel or anything like that. It's like you get out with the energy you put out, you get, right? If you're looking for trouble, you're gonna find trouble, and that's anywhere. But I also think, and that's the same thing in Mexico, the same thing here in LA. I'm not saying that nothing can happen out there, but I think if you go for the football game, you go for the animosity, right? But if you're egging Leon fans and say LAFC wins or something like that, that's a whole different thing. But I think if you
yeah.
have a good time and you stay with your group, you'll be fine. And I'll look out for you, Justin. Don't worry.
Not worried about myself. I'm no, I look, all I'm saying is you look at Costa Rica, right?
I'm
LAC went in
teasing.
and LAC went in and won 3-0 in Costa Rica, and LAFC 3252 were forced out of that stadium 10 minutes early for their own safety, right? They didn't get to watch that final 10 minutes and that final Denny Bouanga goal to seal his hat trick because they had to leave in order to make sure that they were safe because those Costa Rican fans were not happy that they had just been beaten in their own home. Similar things can happen is all I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that anything's going to happen, just saying stay safe.
Honestly, I feel more worried for the players, because I feel like if Carlos Vela scores or something like that, or I think he's not that I want this to happen, or but I could see a possibility of like fans throwing stuff at Vela, because we've seen it before. I think that
Hmm.
that is more obviously with the fans and everything like that, and everybody's safety. But that's one of the things that's going to be concerning, because if Vela has a good game or Boanga has a good game or something like that, then we could potentially see things being thrown at them. Because that's just something that happens in Mexico, South America. That's just unfortunately that's the reality of the situation down there. So I think those are also things to kind of be put in concern. But now, obviously, most stadiums they use plastic cups and everything. But yeah, if you have like a full on beer and getting chucked at a player or a fan, but yeah, it's good. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun one, and it's definitely whichever way it goes, right? Because there's still a second leg. It's gonna be a night to remember, Justin. So make sure you get a lot of pictures in, because this is gonna be, especially everybody that goes. This is why we cover the sport. This is why we go to these type of sporting events, because we right, and MLS and everything, we're used to a certain way. But when you have that cross between MLS and Liga MX and these games and these matches, obviously what Leagues Cup, this is what grows a beautiful game here in America, and being able to have these experiences and being able to go to these stadiums where we don't really go normally. I think it's exciting, and it's going to definitely be one for the books.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait for everything ahead of the game, the atmosphere, and hopefully the game as well. Yeah, it's just going to be a very, very exciting time.
Yeah. Well, let's finish off here with this. I think Giorgio Chiellini may not be playing. I think Cherondolo mentioned that to Josh at the post game press conference. I think that's the only player that may not be available for this at least this match on Wednesday. As we said, I think everybody else it should be available. Outside of Jesus Maria because
Murillo
his yellow card.
suspended. Yeah.
Yeah, his yellow card accumulation. But I think those only two players, and then we'll see. Obviously, the second leg, see if that changes for Chiellini at least, because we know Murillo will be available.
Yeah, no, assuming those two are out, it would mean a center back pairing of Daniel Maldonado and Aaron Long, assuming that those two are healthy, of course. Which is basically your second choice pairing there, but they've done very well this season, so no reason to think that there should be an issue.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, we're gonna finish off the pod here. Man, look, if you guys are traveling to Leon or you're just watching the match, definitely be safe out there. You guys going out there. Justin, okay, the next time we'll be seeing you, we're gonna be down in Mexico, hopefully having some micheladas, down there in Guanajuato and Leon, enjoying it before the match. So, brother, I appreciate you for being on, and everybody listen. We'll catch you guys next.